This is the last of a series of podcasts from my time in THIET, PHAN, South Vietnam, during the Vietnamese War. And I was in THIET from September of 1967 to December 1969. I was head of a field team number 8, had 4 men plus myself, total of 5 guys. And we were engaged in psychological operations. We were part of the 245th Psychological Operations Company based in Nha Trang, Nhatrang. It's just about an hour north of us, and we were about an hour north on the coast of the South China Sea, north of Saigon. All right, well, here we go. These are one night. We're living on an old French airstrip, which was built by the French prior to during their time. French were in Vietnam, as I recall, from around the 1870s until they finally went away once and for all in 1954, based on the Paris Accords, after they'd gotten had a real go around with the North Vietnamese and Ho Chi Minh and those guys after World War II. Anyway, they built this place down on the at Phan Thiet, and it was a couple of buildings and an airstrip and so forth. So, all right, so we were our unit was on the north side of the airstrip. We had some helicopters running an operation called Operation Bird, which was coming to an end at the end of November of 1967, and I was being sent back to Nha Trang, ordered back to Nha Trang to become the S2 head of intelligence for the newly created 8th Psychological Operations Battalion, and I was going to be looking after, from a psychological operations standpoint, about a third of South Vietnam in those days. And there were 4 core areas, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we were in charge of the second corps, and that was by far the largest one. Okay. One night, we're on the, we had a small security unit, by the way, on the south side of the airstrip, kind of to keep the bad guys from sneaking up on us at night on the airstrip. So anyway, we had some guys down there, and one night, lights start going on. It starts getting brighter down there. It's obviously they have suddenly they've got electricity, and we really don't. I mean, it's kind of limited. But these guys down there, it looks like small little town or hamlet growing up down there. So. After a day or two, the powers that be, which is running our operation, sent some people down there and say, well, what do you got there? Well, they had a big generator, generating wave power, and they could run lines and so forth and so forth. Well, how did you come up with a generator? The guy down there, the officer down there says, well, an airplane landed and came all the way down to the end of the strip, which means it landed north to south. And it stopped down there, and it said, hey guys, we got a ramp comes down, and we got a delivery for you. Yeah, well, what do you got? Well, we got this huge, so we get it off the plane. It's a big generator. Okay, which obviously doesn't belong in the south end of the airstrip. It's supposed to kind of electrify things up at the north end where we are. And these guys go, whoa, we got ourselves a generator. So they unpacked it and put it together and started running wires and so forth, and worked out pretty well until they had to give it up. We did a lot of cultural stuff. We were interested in the culture. This is not widely thought of. It's thought of that the Vietnam War. We're out there chasing people around, killing them, and doing one another, and getting killed. But in reality, we had civil affairs, we had psychological operations, really, at least insofar, most of what I did, except for that, when I was head of intelligence, which I was there for quite a while in the track, but did an awful lot of cultural stuff. So anyway, one day, I am asked to go find the Nookmam plant and go visit the Nookmam plant and find out about it, because somebody somewhere wanted to do a story or salute it or something or other. Now, Nookmam is like ketchup and mustard, and so it is the condiment of du jour of love by the Vietnamese. Okay, and it happened that THIET, supposedly, had the largest Nookmam factory in the world. So, go find it, go visit it, and tell us about it. So I did, and it wasn't very far away. It's we're on top of the hill. These guys, THIET are down at the bottom of the hill. I go, and I find it pretty easily. And they're delighted to see me. Couldn't be happier. Come on in, come on in. The odor in that place was overpowering. And there's a reason. And the reason is the way you make Nookmam, I now know, I found out, is you take fish, of which there are many. We're on the coast of South China Sea, and these guys are fishermen. Okay, so lots and lots of fish. So you take it and put a layer of fish in a vat, and then you dump a layer of salt on the top of it, and then you put another layer of fish and salt and fish and salt. Fill the thing up, and then you open a little tap at the bottom. And wait for the whole thing to rot. And they had these big vats, okay? Little taps open at the bottom, a little jug at the bottom here, collecting this dark brown liquid. A rotten fish. The smell was so anyway, they're very nice. And they show me everything, and we can find out what I need to do. And I couldn't wait to, quite honestly, get out of there, because the smell was so awful. And I'm almost to the point of retching. It's so awful. And I finally get outside, and I take about 4 or 5 steps down the street, and I take a deep breath, and I smell the wretchedness of it, because my uniform had soaked up the smell. I mean, I didn't retch, but it was terrible. It was truly awful. All right, now we're going to tell our last story here, and this is rumor, and it was widespread rumor of why they were sending the 101st down to THIET at the end of November to displace the 2nd of the 7th Air Mobile Cavalry, which was the old Gary Owen Brigade, which was George Custer's command that got wiped out at Little Bighorn, I think around 1870 or something. But what, really, why are you sending 101st down here? Because in great numbers. And they were setting up at the other end of the airstrip in the latter days of November, and I was handing off my command in THIET to a new officer who'd come down, and we went down and we were liaison with these guys, and these guys were real warriors. We were Operation Bird, saw almost no action, although we had a firefight day before Thanksgiving, just a few days earlier, and a number of 8 guys were killed. It says online that 11 were killed, but I was there. Now maybe 3 more guys died later on. I don't know. But anyway, here comes the 101st in numbers. What are they doing here? There's not much going on, okay? But what there were widespread rumors that this was part of an effort to declare that we had won in Vietnam, Americans, and that it was that we could safely go home. And how were we going to do that? It was rumored that all up and down the highway, the coastal highway that runs, the coastal highway, it runs on the coast, from Saigon all the way up to Da Nang Way and probably further, that we had deployed units, military units, all along that highway to secure the highway. And in December of 1967. And once it was secured, the rumor, and again, it's just rumor, but it really has this, it's probably, it's a rumor that I believe. And even after I was, running S2, I went head of intelligence up in Nha Trang, none of this ever kind of became confirmed, or I never saw any docs on it. But anyway, the idea was to secure this road from Hue, or maybe just Da Nang, all the way to Saigon, and on Christmas Day. The General Westmoreland, who was running the military operations, and our ambassador to South Vietnam, American ambassador to South Vietnam, were going to fly up to Hue or Da Nang or somewhere, and they were going to climb in cars, along with a large contingent of press who film all this stuff. And on Christmas Day, they were going to drive from northern South Vietnam down to Saigon along a secured highway. Peaceful, lovely day. I don't know the distances, so I don't know if you could even have done it in a day. But anyway, and when they arrive in Saigon, they're going to have a press conference and say, see, we have secured the country. We can drive around on Christmas Day, and we're going home. Well, December 25th, 1967 was only slightly more than a month before the THIET attacks in end of January 1968, which were all across. It went into the every major city and minor cities in Vietnam. We were attacked by the Viet Cong, and it was never clear whether they sent the NVA, North Vietnamese troops, who were really professional during THIET. But anyway, it was a huge amount of mischief and a huge embarrassment, and it took the United States a matter of days to quell the attacks in most cities, and it took I think Hue and the Imperial city up there. I think it took 3 weeks, and it was vicious. It was truly vicious. But all that was a month after Christmas. So if indeed they had thought that they could drive safely, secure sufficiently that highway, and then grandly drive down to Saigon and say, hey, we're going home, they could, they probably could have gotten away with it. Really, probably could have. But what they couldn't do, it was very clear, was they could not secure that highway sufficiently to safely drive that distance without being attacked and getting the general maybe roughed up and the ambassador killed, and a bunch of press recording the whole thing as they did it. This is a series of 4 on PHAN THIET during my time there, my 3 months there, the first assignment I had in Vietnam. And now we're going to move from here to the next duty assignment I had, which began in December 1st, 1967, when I took over as head of intelligence for 2 Corps for psychological operations in the newly created 8th Psychological Battalion, which was located in Nha Trang. That's coming attractions, folks.